distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and fellow innovators. It is my immense pleasure to welcome all of you to the IIC Innovators Summit. We are gathered here today to celebrate innovation, foster collaboration, and explore the cutting-edge ideas that will shape our future. Before we proceed with the day's events, I would like to invite our esteemed dignitaries to partake in the traditional lamp lighting ceremony. This symbolic gesture represents the illumination of knowledge and the bright future that we aim to create through innovation. Now, I would like to introduce Mr. Umesh Rathod, the manager at Innovation Center at IIC. Umesh Rathod sir is a committed educator, mentor, and a best passionate in fostering innovation and entrepreneurship. With a wealth of experience in academia and industry, he has empowered over 4.5 lakh students across 250 plus institutions, nurturing the next generation of leaders. A staunch advocate for STEM education and inclusive opportunities, Umesh sir is dedicated to breaking barriers and promoting a culture of innovation. He actively collaborates with many national and international institutions to enhance the Indian startup ecosystem, mentoring startups to realize the complete potential and drive positive social change. So, would you like to speak? We would also like to introduce Mrs. Swapni Chandra, a registered Indian patent agent and senior officer in IPR at Marigold, India Limited. With 7 years of experience and a strong educational background, Swapni sir combines legal expertise with technical knowledge across various scientific fields. His enthusiasm and expertise in tackling complex scientific challenges makes him a valuable voice in the field of intellectual property rights. So, would you like to listen to this? Right then, now I would love to pass on the session to all the technicians. So,
So I will be on behalf of the Institution Innovation Council Ministry of Education Innovation Cell. And I would like to thank our friend who just introduced all of us. I was interacting with sir a couple of minutes back about the initiatives which have been taken at the institute. So first of all, let me thank the institute also to take that, for hosting this. It's a very important activity, and hosting this activity means a lot for us. If you have seen some how we have to catch it. So there's a huge push in 2016. We talked about Startup India. Now the push is coming to create the IP and technology transfer. We are already doing some good work in the intellectual property space. If I have to just talk about some numbers, right? In 2023 alone, we filed some 1 lakh patents from academia. If we have a new was 2022 it was 23,000 and 2023 it was 1 lakh. So, 24, right? But there is another problem associated. The more the patents, the more responsibility it comes over the shoulders of academia. What we do with that patent. And my role is very pivotal in that aspect. Okay, my role, I have been hired by the Government of India to create that synergy, to catalyze movement, to take that patents and give it a due credit. Due credit in the sense, if you have a patent, there are three things you can do with it. Either it can be sitting idle in a file, in a piece of paper, somewhere on the cloud. What are the other two things? Monetize it through licensing or technology transfer, right? So the challenge which I have been seeing last 3 months, I have traveled across Maharashtra. I have met a lot of IIC stakeholders, presidents and conveners. We had panel discussions like we are going to have today also to understand what is that stopping us from utilizing that patent to do a startup or do a technology transfer or for that matter licensing. And one of the most prominent thing which came up was the framework itself. A lot of things are happening. I specifically invited Sir to deliver a talk on that to cover some aspects in the utility of IPR policy, to also talk about how it benefits the academy, and also what are the applications in the academic setting. So it will be covered in 2-3 parts. One, we are having a session by staff. Second, we have a session on panel discussion where we have investors also joining us. There is also startup pitch which is going to go on parallelly. There are some of the startups from the institute who are going to pitch to the investors over here. So you can see we are bringing everyone. We have IP authority and from the government, we have IIC members, we have startups, we have investors. So we have all the stakeholders in the ecosystem who are important to drive innovation and entrepreneurship. Right? What I expect from you in a nutshell is that awareness of the schemes which are available with us. Now, how many of you know about the Kapila scheme? Raise your hand. Kapila, which is provided by IIC. Yeah? So you know Kapila is basically about funding the reimbursement of the patent which you have done. You know about NISP? Yeah? NISP again. Right? So it is really important to know the NISP in and out. What is NISP? Keep a session on awareness of NISP. I went to Kolhapur last month and I met some of the faculties over there and some colleges like in Inchal Karanchi, like RIT, KT, KIT, right, for that matter. And I was happy to see faculties who are entrepreneurs. They are running business worth 3.54 CR and also teaching. They are passionate about teaching. So the shift is happening now from faculties who are only focused on creating job seekers who becoming like job creators and creating those job creators in their campuses. Finally, in the long run, we have to see how we are going to create those IPs. We are creating patents. If I ask you, many of you might have filed patents. But are those patents commercializable? If yes, what we have done towards? Have we invited any investor in campus to keep a check on it? Have we presented those ideas to someone from the industry who can help us to license or tech transfer that idea? If not, if we have involved some incubator CEO, did a pitch to them about the idea, so can that idea be part of that incubation center? Some startup could be created. I understand as a faculty you have a lot of challenges. You have committed work, right? Many of you might not be interested in doing the startup. bandwidth need. So there is a thing called technology transfer and licensing. Now the challenge is that many people have not done it. Even if I go to IIT Bombay, they have not been able to do a lot of technology transfer. The only prominent institute in tech transfer in India you find is IIT Madras. So can we go and visit, see those case studies? Because we only see and learn, right? It's only possible through that. And keeping an aim, taking a mission that in this academic year we will do one tech transfer. When you will do one tech transfer, you will get that positive aspect of it. You will understand the challenges. You will understand the flow chart, process how it is done. Earlier, we used to think, what is startup? Who can do startup? Now we are seeing so many plethora of startups. In fact, in this institute, we have 7 pitches to the investors today, and the numbers are increasing like anything. So, like we have placement cell also. I'm just giving these examples to connect the dots. Placement cell exists today, right, sir? And we all have put the placement numbers. When we enter the college, we see, oh, great placements. Everyone will agree. There was a time when there was no placement ecosystem. Do you agree with me? We all have been through that. Placement cell नहीं होता था, placement के लिए मारा companies को कौन बुलाएगा? But we have streamlined those activities. Will you agree? Yes or no? Can we streamline this activity of startup culture also? And it's already there. It's just we have not visualized it in that way. I just would like to bring that to your purview. The ecosystem or the thought process or the flow chart for that entrepreneurial journey is existing, but we have not visualized. If you have an idea, for example, right? If you have an idea, what do you do? Where do you go? If a student comes to you, what will you do? I have an idea, sir. What's the next step? Anyone? Proof of concept, okay. What else? Prototype, okay. What else? Relevant industries, okay. Viability. How do you do that? How do you do that? Market research, okay. Validation, right? That's what we talk about. Viability also comes from there. So when someone comes up with an idea, you have incubation centers. You can tell them, create a business, go and pitch. Like in placement cell, we give CV. Here we have to give business. So you are giving your idea to that incubation center. Incubation center will give us idea. You will pass on to investors. You will check viability. You will see what you have done in the market search, right? And he will come back to you. Either they will say yes or no. If they say yes, well and good. If no, what are the challenges? Why it was not accepted? What was the viability? So the ecosystem is there. You have an idea. You go to incubation center. Connect the students to incubation center. The list of staff is available on Startup India portal, right? So it's just giving them the path. Once they pitch to the investors or the incubation center, they get selected. They get 20 lakh seed fund. Everyone is aware of this, right? Seed fund scheme, right? So it's very simple. Your idea should be capable enough to get incubated. Once you are incubated, you have 20 lakhs in your account. Because if you are registered on Startup India, you will get that. So we have to look at it in that way. Like placement culture हमने बना दिया है. In next 4-5 years, we will have this entrepreneurial culture. It is only how we are going to take it. Do we want to wait for it to happen when others will do, or we want to create it on our own? In that, then your patents also come in, your tech transfer also come in, right? If you have an idea, if you have a patent, can you register a startup and work around it? Licensing, so what are the nitty-gritties? There is an IIC center in Pune, National Research Development Corporation. This is the oldest organization in India for technology transfer and holding. So they have started a satellite center in Pune. You can connect with Mr. Manjit Dar. If you need credentials, you can write to me. I would be happy to share it. The ecosystem is there. The investors are there today. 3 investors are taking time out and coming here, participating. No charges, no fees associated with it, right? You have to invite these people to campuses. You have to use the whole ecosystem, how they can come and participate in those events and activities. And then, how we can shape this up. So, what we, in a nutshell, we have been doing a lot of things. Apart from NISP, we have SITP, we have Innovation Ambassador Program, we have UP Challenge, we have, IICs established, we have Student Innovation Councils established in school. We have, so many things going on. But are we aware and making use of it? Right? That's the big challenge. And how do we devote that amount of time? We have Smart India Hackathon going on. By the way, how many students are aware of the Smart India Hackathon? It has already started, right? It's a flagship program, world's largest innovation, churning of ideas, which we call it. So it's very important to take lessons from these initiatives and create and participate in those activities. Today, the way I look at it, the government is working, the way they are functioning with the kind of initiatives they have. I don't see any stopping for someone who wants to create an innovation culture in campus. It's like everything is there. The investors are ready. The incubation centers are there. If you want to pivot, the fabrication labs are there. In Sardar Patel Institute of Technology, we have an idea lab. You can go and use that idea lab to create your MVP, to create a proof of concept. It's open for all, right? It's in their campus. If you face any problem, you write to me. The idea lab is given to them to give it open to any citizen of the country who has an idea and wants to create an MVP or create a prototype. They can enter and they can utilize it. Right? So resources are there, we have to connect the dots. And today's session is very pivotal in that area, that domain which we have started talking about, that is the intellectual property and institution perspectives around it, how academia can play a role in it. I would like to hand over to Swapnil because he comes with that background, and you will hear from him how it is going to shape up. Every person who has been here, in the sessions we have conducted in the past, have added a lot of value to the IICs, and I'm very much sure today's session you will have brilliant takeaways, very insightful takeaways from the panel discussion from this session. So, with your applause, let's welcome Swapnil ji on board.
start with the introduction to IP first. Before IP, we'll just have a brainstorming session on how do you define a property. Just a sentence or a word. How do you define a property?
Something that's around
So we'll say assets. Here are three different types of property that you can see. So there is one common thread around it. Property rights are the rights arising out of some labor. So property rights in a house or an estate, real estate. You have bought that property, the money that you see, the currency that you see, you have, it's a hard money. So there has some amount of effort that's gone into that property. Similarly, the property rights resulting out of your mental labor, your intellectual labor, is an intellectual property. So, the rules related to transfer of property or the characteristics of property as such, whether movable property or immovable property, would similarly apply to intellectual property as well. So these are some different aspects of idea. You will see the element of intellectual labor going on behind each of these facets. So patents, you might already knowing, is given to some technical or economic significance. Any machine or any process that you work upon, you have invented a process that, say, suppose reduces the consumption of fuel in a region. Some of you or any Marathi audience in here might remember the movie De Lagda, the first one. So the character Makandara played, he had invented such a device. So you would see examples of IP lying around yourself everywhere. And I'll revisit patents one again, but we will briefly go through the other aspects. Designs or industrial designs that people usually refer to are the protection given to the aesthetic features, look and feel, or some engravings or some aesthetic features of any product. So the Pepsi bottle that you see that has evolved from a glass bottle to a PET jar or a tin can, all has gone through a process of evolution of industrial design. So whichever design that you think is aesthetically different, whether or not it contains any technical thought behind it, whether it's different from and distinct from all other designs, it can be protected under industrial design. Next is the copyright. So every book that you write, every song, every lyrics, every photograph that you capture are a part of your copyright. If you have, it has got any photograph that you take has taken your mental labor into adjusting the exposure, adjusting the light, aperture, so all of it. So there were cases around, so I will briefly also add some cases in real life that you might have heard or read somewhere. There was a case probably last decade only. A monkey had chanced upon a camera in jungle and he had taken a picture of himself, a selfie. And there was a debate over it, who owns the right over that photograph. Whether the monkey owns the right, the camera owner or the photographer or the one who published it. So copyrights are also allied with other sort of rights. They are known as related rights. So any movie that you see is a collective effort of so many people, the writer, the choreographer, the cameraman, the DOP. So the publishing rights
Parle or Apple, I would associate some sort of quality from that. If you see a biscuit pack of Parle seeds, you would immediately realize this is not a Parle G biscuit. This is some sort of cheap knockoff of that product, and you would be aware not to buy that product. So trademark serves as a link between the consumer and the brand, the goodwill that they have. Similarly, trade secret, it's exactly opposite of the patent as is situated diagonally opposite to the patent. With trade secrets, it is your technical know-how that you are trying to protect, but without disclosing it anywhere. Say you might know the Coca-Cola recipe has been kept secret for more than 200 years. There are just two people on earth that know the secret recipe, and they don't travel together anytime. So that is the amount of effort that one has to put in to keep the secret a secret. So I'll also touch upon how do you protect your IPRs, whether in patent or copyright. So trade secrets are exactly opposite of patents. We will see that geographical indications. You might have heard that Solapuri sadar, Solapuri chappal, Simlipa chutney, the gulab jamun. There is also a dispute between Odisha and West Bengal whose right it is. And we also have a dispute between India and Pakistan about the basmati rice. So there are traditional issues around it. There is also a another brand of protection called as appellation of origin. Similar to GI, say suppose the champagne. The champagne is an alcoholic drink which is prepared only in a specific village called Champagne in France. So there is not a geographical, not just a geographical factor that plays in. This is also related to skill of the workers over there that produce and that brew the wine. So appellation of origin is a step beyond geographical origin that respects the skill of the workers around it. So Solapuri chadar can also be said appellation of origin here. Plant variety is also another sort of protection. You might have heard about the case potatoes, Lay's Frittoli's potato case. So the case was Lay's had provided the specific potato variety to some farmers of Gujarat, and they had sort of started commercializing them out of their contract. So this is also covered in IP. We have a special act for it. Also, farmers' rights are also protected in the similar way as plant varieties. So we will touch upon those later on. Integrated circuits are probably you engineering students would relate to it better. The silicon integrated circuits are very small objects, and that too you have to figure out the paths of say suppose current where to solder what you have to use a small breadboard around it to work around the flow of your information or algorithm. So having seen these types of IP, we'll quickly move on to what decisions you have to take. This is just an example. You would go to patents way, you would patent your protection if you have a technical advancement. You already have some body of knowledge around your invention. Say suppose there are already engines around it that use diesel or petrol. You are adding to the body of knowledge, you are making a technical enhancement in that body of knowledge, or probably you can tweak the process so as to have some economic significance. So reduce consumption or increase yield is an increased economic significance. So patent would involve a sort of have to disclose all of your know-how in order to get that protection. Unless you won't get that. This is because once you explain all of your invention to the general public in your patent document, anybody in that same field would be able to read, get an idea of what the industry has come up till now, and will probably build upon the same thing. If you don't publish, if you don't disclose all your details, you will be anyway working on the same thing over and over again, and probably you will also have an competition by the time you file your patent application. So it is on the benefit of the patent office or the general public at large, as well as your benefit, that to disclose all the known methods or the best modes to carry out your invention. In return, you get the monopoly over the technology that you have created. So if you have gone into R&D and you have invented a new molecule that cures cancer, so that anti-cancer molecule might have taken some billions or millions of dollars to reach the table that you want. Medicines, the process of developing medicines takes a lot of trials, takes a lot of money, takes a lot of efforts. After all that, if you have finally honed upon one specific compound, so you would want to recuperate all the efforts that you have made, and probably be able to invent another such cure to say probably HIV. So to incentivize the inventors, to help them cover their cost and encourage them to do more such inventions, the patent office or the nation, that the country gives you specific right. It is usually 20 years. It used to be irregular around the countries. From last 2005 amendments, it has been 20 years, and most of the countries around the world give 20 years only. As opposed to it, as I said, trade secret is exactly opposite of patent. Trade secrets do not give you any statutory protection as such, as opposed to patents, which have a Patents Act which regulates the activities around patents. Trade secrets, you can enjoy the protection as long as you keep the secret a secret. So your trade secret can be disclosed by somebody else in a day, or probably you will be able to keep it a secret for an entire eternity. So recently there was a case in US. A lady employee disclosed some sort of trade secrets to the fiance, and the fiance was employed with the rival firm. So the lady got sued. Sorry, the lady got fired, and the fiance got sued, and the case is now going on. So this is the level of protection, the level of confidentiality that you have to keep. Trade secrets, as I said, do not have any statute as such in India or in most of the countries. So you will have to work around with the contract acts. You have to add a non-disclosure agreement, the confidentiality clauses in your employee agreement, or the agreement that you make with the institution that you are working with. Similarly, as opposed to patents, designs are given for aesthetic features, look and feel of that product. You can create a formulation or a drink or a beverage which has some formulation, which has some additional ingredient, active ingredient that works to say suppose better rehydrate your body. But the container that you keep in it would not be covered under the patent. So if you create some design that is not disclosed anywhere, you can get a design registration. The term is usually 50 years. Trademark, as similar to design, is given for aesthetic features which associate your product or your brand with particular service or goods that you are supplying. The term is 10 years, and it can be renewed every 10 years, but with the procedural, the described procedure. So, trademarks is also an interesting field of IP. You would be able to protect the shape of your product product, for example, the logo of Mercedes, the 3D logo of Mercedes cars is also a trademark. You can also trademark sound. The jingle of Britannia is also a trademark protection. You would also be able to trademark smell. There are no examples for trademark smell being trademark, but there is also a statutory protection. If you develop some product, you can have a trademark over it on a distinctive smell. So let's focus on patents. As I said, yeah.
Regarding process, what can be the process? Can we have that as an
Yes. So you would have to establish what your process is, how is it different from the process that are being commercially used or the process that have been disclosed in literature. So if you have something, we call it an inventive step. So what step that you are adding upon it? It can the word mentions step, but it can also be a sequence of addition of ingredients or the temperature or the parameters that you use by
business process?
the method of conducting a business and such. So in India, method of conducting business is not directly patentable. There are bars around patentability. We will touch upon those as well. But in US or some other countries, the method of conducting business is also. But on the same part, say suppose you are working upon something like UPI. UPI is also in a way method of conducting business, but it will include some algorithm as well, some hardware as well. So any method of business or any abstract theory or any mathematical equation or any computer program cannot be patented as such, but it can be patented with embedded technologies like hardware coupled with software. The Bluetooth technology, Bluetooth algorithm cannot be patented as such, but the hardware and the software combined can be protected under method of conducting business. So you have to show that your process of giving commands to that hardware and interpreting, taking input from external source and processing that and giving an output around it. If that process is novel, if you can establish that there are some parameters that your patent application would have to go through, it touch upon that as well. So if you are able to establish that your process is novel and inventive, you would able to get that patent around it. So it is upon the skill of the patent attorney how does he narrate that the whole thing. So I'll just give an example. Atom bombs or anything that is like weapons of mass destruction are not patentable in India or anywhere in the world. Then they have different statutes around it. But you can anyway use that nuclear energy to diagnose diseases. So the same nuclear energy can be used for a destructive purpose and for constructive purposes as well. So the way you use or the way you portray your story around it, the narrative that you present makes all the change. So if you present it to the patent office that we are making a bomb, they will directly say it is not patentable. But if you say suppose a weedicide, the insecticide or pesticides are harmful to living beings. But if you say you are trying to cover a method to increase yield of your crop, in that way it is patentable. So you have to show how your invention is making some contribution to the technical know-how, scientific knowledge around it. So patents are territorial in nature. So if you want to market your product in Indian subcontinent, you will have to file in Pakistan separately, in Bangladesh separately, in Myanmar, in India separately. So each of the patent offices would have their own statutes, their own patent act around it, and the the process of application of patent would differ. Though there are some standard procedures, there are some standard requirements that a patent application has to fulfill. Those would be common around all those things. Also, patents are negative rights. This is a bit theoretical, so I'll stick to this thing. With patent rights, you would be able to stop somebody from using your invention, stop somebody from manufacturing or offering for sale or selling your product. You can't, you don't have positive right in the sense that you can't give out rights to everybody. So, patent rights are given after substantive and formal examination. This would also apply to other sorts of IP as well. Formal examination would refer to the forms that you file, the technical requirements that they have to fulfill, and the substantive examination would be from the subject matter expert. So if you are making an engine, so it will go to some mechanical engineer, some metallurgy, some officer of that background. The process of securing a patent grant around your application or your invention would face some roadblocks. We will see the procedure how that goes. So, if you consider the flight, your Sapno ki Udan, your startup ideas or your innovative ideas around your product, first you will have to file a patent application before Indian Patent Office or any other patent office. So the patent office will take that application, docket it, and it will publish it after some time. Say in India, it is 18 months from the filing of your application. In 18 months, in these 18 months, your application is there at the patent office, but nobody knows about it. After 18 months, or there is another way around it, you can request the patent office to publish the application much earlier. So it can be published in 1 month or 2 months of your request. So then your patent application is published. This is the time it is crucial in the sense that if you want to enforce your patent rights, say suppose you have filed an application in January, it gets published in March, and probably next year you get a grant over it, and you see some competitor is working on the same thing and is probably also infringing on your patent right. So you would be able to claim the damages. You can initiate an infringement suit from that date, from the date you come to know and from the date you have the patent right over it. So even if your patent is granted next year, you would be able to claim damages from March, the date of publication itself, because you would be able to show that the infringer had prior knowledge of this patent being there. So before the time period between your application and publication is not covered in this because the public would not know about your patent application. So after publication, there is also another window of 48 months that has been reduced to 31 months with this amendment. Patent office will conduct a formal examination, also substantive examination, but there are some countries in US or some China. Formal examination is kept separate from substantial examination. The next step would be once patent office conducts an examination, whether formal and substantive, patent office will issue a first examination report. There are sort of objections around your patent application. They will say this application or this subject matter is not novel, is not inventive, or is not industrial applicable. These are the three minimum criteria that you have to pass anywhere in the world. So US would also have similar criteria. Europe, Japan, Germany would have same criteria that you have to pass. Novelty would mean that your patent or your invention is not known anywhere, not disclosed anywhere, or not shown in some video or in some abstract anywhere. These days, patent office also cites YouTube videos. It's a welcome change. Inventive step would mean that even if it is not disclosed anywhere, say fine, you have established that no article, no patent application, no manuscript or no video establishes or anticipates this invention. Still, there are 2 or 3 separate patent application or 2 or 3 separate literature research articles that when help somebody working in this field arrive at your own invention. So you have to also establish that whatever document that patent office cites as a prior art document, you have to show that there is no link between these documents so that any person would be able to work upon and arrive at your claimed invention. Industrial applicability would usually mean that you should be able to manufacture that product or use that process industrially and commercialize it for the benefit of the general public. Once you submit your replies to the patent office and say that my invention is novel because these reasons, my invention is inventive because these many reasons. So the patent office would either grant your application if it is convinced. In 99% of the cases, the patent office is not very easily convinced with your argument. They will also give you another chance, another opportunity of being heard, wherein you can explain your invention face to face, you or your attorneys explain the invention to the officers. Then again they have additional doubts that they have around the working of that invention or the language of the application that you have written. So after conducting hearing, you will have to submit the whole thing in written submission as well, and then probably the patent office will grant. Another roadblock around it would be opposition procedure. So once your application is published after 18 months of your filing application, it is open to public. So anybody, your competitor, can come up and file an opposition request at a patent office and say that this application is not novel or not inventive or it should not be granted because of these grounds. So there are several grounds of opposition. The same way the patent office raises objection to your application, thus the same way an opponent party can raise objections to your patent application. Whether you are working on your invention or not, whether you are so working requirements is a unique requirement in Indian patent office and many few patent offices around the world. That say for example you have made an anti-cancer medicine. So patent office would want to know whether you are working on that anti-cancer medicine, whether you are producing that anti-cancer medicine supplying to the Indian general public, whether Indian public is able to access your medicine or buy the medicine at reasonable prices. So whether the requirements of the general public are being fulfilled or not. If you are not able to fulfill completely or even partially, your patent might be revoked at a later stage, or the data can be used by some private party to oppose your patent application or revoke it. Even after publication of your grant of your patent, patent office will publish the information in a patent office journal, and it is again open to scrutiny for your competitors, and they can file a post-grant opposition as well. In India, this is a specific case, unique case, where a patent application can be granted opposed before grant, as well as it can be opposed after grant as well. In US, it is only after grant if part is refused. So our patent policies around the policies around our patent act are kind of a balance between access to medicine or access to general public. We being a relatively poor country and a developing country, we have to also manage the interest of the capitalists or the industry, give them monopoly over their R&D, also take care of the people so that they can buy our medicines at a lower rate. I'll also briefly touch upon some questions that are frequently asked by inventors or academicians around it. As even Mr. Rathod said, if you have an idea, what do? Do you directly patent it? No, you can patent an idea. You have to work around the expression of that idea. Even if you have an idea of a movie, so you can't patent or you can copyright that idea of a movie. You have to write down a script. You have to perform that script either in a movie or publish it somewhere on a YouTube video. Then you would qualify for a copyright over it. Then again, you have an idea for a say E is equal to MC square, the famous equation uh, that changed the history and changed the science altogether. So the equation was revolutionary, but it could not be protected. But the way to use that invention and say use that for nuclear magnetic resonance imaging or some other uses of nuclear energy, that can be protected. Uh, so, so if you have published your invention in a journal, in a research article, would you be able to protect it? So, by definition, once you have published your data or your findings in a journal research article, it would be considered as a prior art for your application. If you go ahead and file your application on the same thing, patent application on the same thing, the patent office will cite your own research article and say that this is already in the public knowledge. So what different that you have done around it. So it is advisable if you have some idea and you have a prototype around it or you have developed a business case around it, it is better that you file a patent application first and then publish in a research article. Also, if you are published and you are not aware of the rules around patenting, you have been given a grace period of 12 months. So, if your article is published in January this year, you would be able to file an application by December this year to refer to that research article and claim that this is my own study, this is my own work, and I am filing the patent application around it. I am the true and first inventor around it. Also, if you fear your competitor is also working on your formula on the same thing, say suppose you are working on a shampoo formulation and you know of somebody else who is also working on the same formulation using the same combination of surfactant or same combination of chemicals, it is better that you file an application as soon as possible. So patent office usually gives you two options, a provisional application and a complete application. Provisional application would be you just have to disclose the vague details about your patent application. You do not have to go into nitty-gritty. Whatever information that you have till now, you can file a provisional application around it, and then again you will get another 12 months for filing the complete application around it. Complete application would require you to go into much details. So you have to give out specification of each ingredient that goes into your formulation. What are the alternatives that can be used? What are the different processes that can be used to apply this or to manufacture this product? And the most important part, the claims of a patent application. The claims would refer to the boundary of your invention that you are trying to see. So if you say your invention would work on a certain temperature range, say suppose 24 to 30 degrees centigrade. So if somebody comes up with an invention that works in the temperature range of 31 to 32, which is very similar to your range, but as you have claimed a range till 30 only, you can't initiate a infringement suit around that because that is something you have disclaimed. So it is advisable that while drafting a patent application or working upon something, you try to analyze what all alternatives or what broad ranges that you can claim. So if you think 30 is the last limit that I can work with, you have to have some data ready that your invention would never work after 31 degrees centigrade or probably below 23 degrees centigrade. So that amount of data you will have to have in order to better enforce your patent right. With respect to patent applications, there is one concept called priority date. So priority date is the date at which the first information of that information of that invention was given. So whether it can be a provisional application or it can be a complete application. So whichever application that you file, the earliest that you file is the better, because you would be able to stop the other people around your invention. same line and probably avoid a replacement shoot or a location shoot later on. So another misconception that people have around patent that you can have a global patent around your invention. So that is there is no such thing as a global patent. There is no such thing as a world patent. Of course, you can file your patent application in as many countries as you want. There are platforms to go around it. But as I said, patent rights are territorial in nature. You have to either file your application in each of the countries. We call it a Paris Convention route. You have to go into each country. Say suppose Germany, that would require you to file application in the German language. Russia in Russian language. So there is another route that facilitates your patent application process. Is a Paris patent cooperation treaty. So as I mentioned, Paris Convention would give you the liberty to file your application in all of the countries that you want within 12 months of your priority date. 0 is the priority date, and in comparison, the PCT route gives you a lot of wiggle room to file or enter into national phase. So if you have application, if you have filed the application in India, within 12 months you can file a PCT application in India only or some other offices that are affiliated to WIPO or PCT. After 4 months, you would get an international search report. WIPO itself performs a patent search around your invention and gives you a brief report whether there are any prior arts around your invention, and if there are prior arts, which category they are in. If the prior arts are very close, it will cite the prior arts as an X category or Y category. If the prior arts are not very close but still related to the general field that you are working upon, it will cite as A category. So depending on the search input, you would probably get an idea whether my invention would be patented, or would I be required to make any amendments to my application or change some sort of claims that I can. So you would get an additional 6 months to make those changes, and again after 22 months of your practice, you would also get a international preliminary examination report. That is a similar sort of patent search, but that would be a detailed one now that you have amended your application. And finally, at the end of 30, at the point of 30 months, you can file your application in those different countries. So, as a competitor or as a person working in the industry wanting to commercialize your application, you would have to take a decision whether I want to get a patent grant in as many countries or as possible, at as early as possible, or would I want to delay my patent grant as late as possible so as to stop my competitors. There are also strategies to go about your patenting. You would also work in the defensive publication. So you currently do not have any wherewithal or do not have any plans to work or perform your invention, even if you have a patentable invention. You do not want to monetize or commercialize the invention, you can just file an application around it, and that would be used as a prior art to stop other competitors in the same field that would probably in later time end up at your claim invention. So that is defensive publication. Yeah. So I'll just briefly touch upon how we read a patent application. This is a general patent granted in United States. So this is a US patent. There are some numbers around it. So here you would say this is general public document. So the number that you see here is the patent publication number. So if you file the patent application and you want to discuss this patent with an attorney or somebody like an investor that I have got a patent around it, say this is my patent number. So this is the number that you set. Also, the details of the inventor, details of the applicant, the details of the owner of the patent, the applicant, the person that files and the person that owns the inventor can be different. So if you file the invention in your college's name or in your own name, and then later on you sell to some big company. So that company would be the owner of that patent and you would be the applicant. And the inventor should also be mentioned in the patent application. In the abstract, you would get a brief summary of your patent application. In India, it is less than 150 words that you can briefly summarize your invention. Then again, the next would be field of invention. You have to briefly mention what field your invention relates to. Next would be the background. So with background, you have to mention what your competitors are doing, what is the general public in the that same field are doing, what is the problem that you are trying to solve, and how are the other people solving it. Next comes the detailed description, where you in detail you mention all the requirements that are there to perform your invention, what all possibilities that you can imagine. As I mentioned earlier, you can mention the broad range for temperature, broad range for ingredients that can be put in your formulation. So these are the claims that I mentioned. This is the boundary of your invention. While drafting, it is utmost important that you claim as much as possibilities around your invention or protection has to be as broad as possible, but at the same time not infringing upon somebody else's patent that would land you up in the trouble. So these are the brief pointers that you can think of what information can you get out of a patent document. Yeah, I'll briefly also touch upon how do you search for a patent. So Google Patents is a free database that you have available for you. Say suppose you search for a hair mask, so it will give you more than a million results for a hair mask. You would be able to use advanced filters to filter out the assignees or the competitors that you do not need. You can filter out with the time range that you want. So once you land upon some particular patent application or a granted patent, this is the similar information that you see in a patent document that I showed earlier. The assigning, the inventor, the other applications that are they are filed for this application. Currently, this guy has not filed, the lawyer has not filed any application around it, but they'll show you a brief timeline of the event, how the invention has progressed. There are several other databases apart from these free databases. The patent office usually shares their own databases. Indian Patent Office has their own database. United States Patent and Trademark Office USPTO has their own database. Apart from these, there are several other paid databases, Pantclear or Videologist. Yeah. So this is a brief example, interesting example. You would see that this guy is saying apologies for publishing these poems here, as I could not find any other convenient publishing method to establish my proof of my creation. So this application would not be granted as per the Patent Act, but this guy has filed a patent application for his poems because probably no publisher would want to publish his poems. They are that so you would also encounter such patent applications as well that they are not making any significant technical advancement in the field, or they are not commercially applicable, but still they are going ahead and filing the patent application, and you would see in their resume that I have 16 patents to my name. And also the NIIF or the NAC accreditation system, they also pay attention to how many patents that you have, how many publications that you have. So the accreditation process would not pay attention to whether your patent application is published or whether it is granted. You would be able to say we have like our institute has filed 100 patents, but whether they have been granted, whether they have been monetized, whether they have been commercialized is a different thing. Recently, the NIIF ranking also raised. So those also have a brief distinction whether you have a patented product or a published patent application. They gave 5 marks for a published patent application and 10 marks for granted patent. Similarly, the same guy also had a patent application on Swadesh 2 movie. we also fixed in some Maheshmati references, probably references, Pandit and all. So these are also some talents. These are not rampant. There are only few rare examples that you would see. But people, like, I appreciate this guy who at least go out there and file a patent application. Patent application would in India at least is not very costly and affair. The basic application fee for a patent application is 1600 for an individual. For startups, for institutional educational institutes, or for government institutes, it's also 1600 rupees. Then again, you file a request for examination. Some additional formalities would also be charged. But for individuals or for startups or for educational institutes, it's much lesser than what a company. Say suppose Malibu would have to pay 8,000 rupees for the same thing that you can file for 1600 rupees. There is five-fold difference in the fees. So Indian government is trying to incentivize invention around it. There are also schemes. Rathod sir might have not mentioned it earlier. Schemes for incentivizing patent application, SIPP scheme for facilitating your patent application process. So there are a list of patent facilitators that can help you with your patent application, and then probably they can claim the same. They would not charge you for patent application filing process. They will probably charge you for patent search if you want to go with their patent search, or if you can perform your own search yourself. They just have to. You just have to get your patent draft or an idea around it. They can draft you that patent application, and the filing would be done free of cost to you. You would probably charge some professional fee for drafting the application or some patent search around your application. But Indian government is trying to incentivize you to file more and more patent application, that to quality patent application. So these also you can file, but you would not get any much remuneration around it. So also I'll touch on the institutional policy as well. So if as a company or a startup you have some idea, you have a patent around your idea, and probably government has incentivized you to file a patent application. You are commercializing that, monetizing that, and probably want to foster a culture of innovation in your organization, whether it's an education institute or a startup. So your employees would probably need to be bound by some agreements or some clauses. So any intellectual property that you develop would be a co-ownership of your company and the inventor, or probably whatever invention that you make would probably only lie with the company. So the policy has to be designed in such a way that it has to be a win-win for you, the employer or the inventor, and the owner or the assigner, the applicant, the organization. So you have to form some guidelines around your IP policy, whether if a person is working with your organization, is utilizing the resources of your organization and filing the patent or application in his name only. So that is misuse of your own resources. So you are entitled to get that rights over that patent application, provided you have some agreement or some clause in the employment agreement with that inventor. Also, a policy would be able to effectively manage, protect, and utilize your IP assets. So if you have say some inventor that has joined your organization, and he already has some 3 or 4 important patents to his name, you can probably buy or license his inventions to your name and commercialize on your in your company's name. So you have to get the inventions assigned to your name, licensed to your name, so that you will be able to work around this. Similarly, if some student, some PhD scholar works with you, with the guide, the institute files a patent application around the project. Patent application is in pending stage, and the scholar leaves, the guide leaves for some reason, and is not traceable after some time. So the inventors have to sign like the applicants have to sign some documents, and they probably he's saying you have harassed me for some reason in my PhD times, and I am not going to sign these documents, and I will probably sue you for obtaining my invention wrongfully. So you have to have that policy around your IP filing and your IP assets, whether one can go ahead and file a patent application on the same thing or not. So there are ways to go about it. So there are key components of your IP rights. So who gets the ownership of your IP rights, whether it is the students or whether it is the college or it is a joint ownership, whether some two or three students venture out and start a startup, and the intellectual property that they have created is was conceptualized and probably worked upon prototype in your college only. So you would also have a say into it. So your IP policy has to mention that any intellectual property generated in this tenure would also belong to the college. So IP creation and disclosure. So the college, the institute can also incentivize or encourage students to come up with new ideas and probably vet them through a patent attorney or to get a patent search around it. And if say out of 5 ideas, 2 ideas are patent worthy, so they can the institute can go ahead and fund the students to go ahead and patent that idea. So this has to be a joint exercise between the student and the institute or the authority. Also similarly IP protection as well. So you have gone ahead and filed a patent application. The prosecution of the application right from the drafting stage till the grant stage and even post grant formalities that has to be completed would have to be overseen by the institute only. Otherwise you run a risk that some student after having granted a patent leaves the college and starts a company with his own name and gets an investment citing these patent application and you are not aware about it. So similarly enforcement as well, that you find somebody copying your patent application, some rival, some competitor college working upon the same thing. So you would have to keep a watch around the inventions that are crucial to your growth or your development. Then you can keep a watch and enforce them as you need. So these are the benefits of institutional IPR policy, that you would encourage innovation around your campus. You would encourage a environment of innovation and invention around your colleges. So that would also help you with the NAC and NIRF rankings. You would be able to protect organizational IP assets. You would be able to support technology transfer in a better way. If you have a patented technology, you just have to file a form at the patent office mentioning that I am assigning my rights to this particular industry or this particular student or this particular startup. As simple as that. Apart from that, you just have to have an agreement that enlist all the patent documents that you have, whether in pending stage or application stage or granted stage. IP policy would be in a way helping you to have a technology transfer or probably take some technology from other institutes as well. So I'll end with this quote: strategic use of intellectual property can give a business several years of protected competitive advantage. It's a loaded statement. So you would keep, instead of a business, you can say an institute or a college. So it's a competitive advantage that you are gaining over your competitor, and it will be there for years, 15 years, 20 years. Even if you work upon the same technology over and over again, it will be a protection that you get for decades. So I'll end with this one. So if you have any questions,
how accurate is the information rate using the technology? Because you tried many times extraction method or method of synthesis and it really never worked. Then I've come to know that people are protecting that the E steps there. And so then how useful is the
So they are responsible to check the safety and efficacy of that drug. The activity of that drug is material to their application, their regulatory approval. Patent office is not very much bothered about the activity or safety of that drug. But on the same time, the patent officer, the controller, as we say, patent officer would like to know that you have made some technical advancement. So if you say there are some anti-cancer drugs and they have been able to increase the lifespan till 3 years, and your patented molecule is going to expand the lifespan by 10 years or so. So that is a significant improvement. The patent office would only want to know that whether you are making any significant enhancement to the body of knowledge. Then again, there are people who fudge up some data and say that my invention is patentable because of this experimental data. So, as a researcher, you would know data can be manipulated, statistics can be portrayed in a different way to establish the result or the concept that you want to prove. So, patent office by statute is not empowered to differentiate between right data and wrong data. Patent officers by themselves have some authority to challenge some data, request additional data in to enforce your to support your claims. So that is possible. But then again, there is another possibility. Say suppose you know some competitor and they have you know that the data that they have submitted in their patent application is a frivolous data. They have not used the right statistical method, they have not used the right protocol to get that study, or their sample size is not adequate enough. Then you can file an opposition to that patent application. So this is one more filter that you can use to filter out the frivolous application around it. So, and also the patent office would also have, specifically India has that additional layer of protection in addition to the three criteria, novelty, multi-step and patentability. Indian Patent Office also checks the patentability of that product. So there are around 10 to 15 parameters or 10 to 15 criteria which in which even if your patented, even if your technology is patentable, fulfills all the three criteria, then again it cannot be patented because either it is contrary to public order or morality, or it is harmful to some living organism, or it is using some arrangement or rearrangement of known ingredients or known devices. If some two or three units or two or three parts of your engine work independently of each other and you just change the sequencing in a way, so that is not patentable. So the subject matter experts that are sitting at the patent office would probably understand this is mere arrangement or rearrangement of known devices. So these are the filters that patent office has to keep a check on frivolous application. Also there is a way to oppose the patent application. Till the grant of patent application, from the date of publication till the grant, any person can go ahead and file a patent, file opposition. So if you see some college or some institute or some company filing a frivolous application and you understand that the data that they have made up is not correct or it's falsified data, you can file the opposition statement to it. Patent office will take note of it. Patent office will go through the grounds that you have mentioned themselves and then give you probably an opportunity of being heard to establish what data that you want to prove. Similarly, even after the grant, the granted patent can be opposed, but then again there is some sort of restriction that one has to do. Patent application after grant can be opposed by any person interested. So if you are working in the same industry for say suppose 10 years, or if you are a PhD candidate in the same technology, so you have some 5-10 years of experience on the technology. So you have that position of authority that you say when this patent is not liable to be granted or should not have been granted in the first place. So there are ways to recruit somebody's patents or probably oppose any amendment that they have carried out. So there are ways to go.
More than wanting to oppose, I would feel that patent has been a more, it has not really given me knowledge or
Okay.
so that is really sad. So that has helped only the inventor.
So then again, it's a frivolous patent in a way. If the patent application has not added something to your knowledge, then again it's a mere arrangement of some known elements only. There is nothing new in the process or in the product. Some inventive step has to go in the product or in the process that would be eligible for a patent protection. If it is not there, then it's a frivolous patent or a bad patent. The example that I showed, the Swadesh 2 movie theme, that did not add to anybody's knowledge as such. So it is a frivolous patent. It is liable to be revoked or not to be granted.
So suppose I have filed a patent application and somebody has filed opposition, pre-grant opposition. So do I come to know that who has filed the opposition?
Yes. You would be given a copy of that opposition notice. Either the patent office will share a copy or the person opposing would give you a copy of that opposition. You would also know whether the patent office has taken that opposition on record or not. Nowadays, with the recent amendment, the patent office has that authority to keep in check the benign opposition. So there was a practice that anybody can come up and say so. With respect to chemical inventions, there was some guy in the diamond industry who used to oppose, like the background was said to be diamond industry. So he'll have to show that his expertise lies in this field. He has been working in this field. If he is not able to show or establish his identity or authority over that subject, this opposition is also liable to be opposed. That is on the discretion of the patent office. But you would definitely get a copy of that opposition. You would be able to understand what are the grounds that they are opposing your patent on. Also, they will also give you a copy of the prior art. If not, you can anyway check the prior art on your own as well. What prior art that they have cited, what part of that prior art, whether it's a claim or any specific paragraph from the description that they have cited to refute your novelty or refute your inventive step in that application. The patent attorney would be able to tell you what their strategy around your opposition is. So there are numerous cases of benign opposition or frivolous opposition as well. So if probably somebody wants to just to get back at some competitors or probably so there have been cases where A company has filed opposition against B company's patent. So B company also opposition in some other patent application of A company. In spite of there have been practices in the industry. So as you
patents are territorial.
sorry.
They are territorial rights. So you can file a patent over here in India. If you are in India only, if someone uses the same technology, then why is the patent in America? I cannot.
So at the time of filing the application, one that you have to take a decision, a commercial or a business decision, ki what markets that I want to enter. So if you have decided to enter in only in the Indian subcontinent, whether or not somebody in Europe or in US is infringing or is working on the same technology, I do not need to bother. So at the time of filing your application, that is the decision you need to take. In case you have not thought of some Gulf countries, say in Kazakhstan, you did not see the need to enter in Kazakhstan and file your patent in Kazakhstan, then you cannot enforce your patent in that country. But again, that is another layer of protection that you would get, that your patent application would be published. So your Indian application or US patent application is published on the internet, so everyone can see that. So any competitor specific country, say Kazakhstan, would also have access to your patent application, the disclosure that you have made. So their patent office would say, Kazakhstan patent office would say that this is already a public knowledge because of your patent application or your granted patent. So he would be in a way restricted to use that technology. He would be probably improving on your technology. That would be a different thing. So that would be adding to the body of knowledge, but you would not be able to enforce it as such.
It is protected internationally in the other way.
So indirect protection that you get for the technology, you can lock. There is a term for it, defensive publication. You can file a research article or a provisional application. So even in the CCT rules, if you file a PCT application, it will get published on it, so you don't have to file any other formal request around it, and it will be there for eternity. So anybody working on that same technology would be restricted to keep themselves out of your published disclosure subject matter.
So it takes too long to get patent
Right.
by the time it is very possible that the idea or product technology or whatever making patent to lose its significance.
See, so there are ways to go about it. So say suppose if you have an idea around AI, so AI is in boom right now and you want to have a patent or protect your idea around your AI use case. So you will go ahead at the patent office, Indian patent office, you file your provisional application, and the disclosure that you would give to the patent office, that would be considered as a disclosure before any patent office. So if anyone else files a patent application around it, you would be restricted and your patent application would be cited as a prior. It would not be a provisional application, you have to file a complete application. So complete application, then again the question of time comes. So if you file a request for early publication, then your complete application would be published in 1 or 2 months only. So what idea that you have now would be published everywhere in the internet by September or by October. So that way you can protect your IP and probably build upon it later on, but you would have that priority over it. So earlier there was a system first to file and first to invent. So US was the first to invent system. So anybody who invented some new thing, so you probably both two are different competitors and both of you are working on the same technology. So whoever invents first will have to show with evidence that my logbook or my lab notebook data would show that I was working on the invention much earlier than you. So that created kind of problems around all over the world. The inventors would have to also document the whole thing. So now patent offices all across the world are also amending their patent acts to inculcate the first to file system. So that way the patent officer would only need to see which application was filed first. So if you file the application today and your colleague files an application tomorrow, so naturally your priority is earlier. So whatever publication that goes on after your priority is none of your concern. Your application will be scrutinized on the data or body of knowledge that was there on this priority date and before that date. So any competitor, if any competitor files any patent application after your priority date, would directly be restricted by the patent office, showing your patent application was earlier. So that is the importance that you file your application as early as possible if you think any competitor would also be moving in the same area. Then again, if you think no competitor is working on the same area and I am the first one working on it, and I would want to, if I file as early as possible, my patent term would also expire as early as possible, like if, 20 years from now. So if there is some way that you can delay your patent term by say suppose instead of 2044, you can delay your patent term till 2045. So you can do that by filing a complete provisional application followed by complete application, then filing a PCT application that would give you 31 months of additional time. So there are strategies to buy time, there are strategies to save time as well. So depending on your business strategies, the patent attorney can suggest you some ways to go about it. So if you also want to say file the patent application in the least amount of funds, there is also a strategy around it. If you want to file the application and just leave it at that, and probably somebody else can work around it. So there are strategies around that as well.
What is the effect of the people having the patents in other countries, fake wrong patents? For example, some patents in United States are right on the Indian traditional medicine or yoga poses. So how can it affect us? So they were approved as a credential method.
Yes.
They were granted in US. What should we do?
So, as I said earlier, patent office is not bothered whether your application is safe or efficacious to people. It will perform a formal examination to check whether you have supplied all the documents, and it will perform a substantive examination to check whether what you have said as your data says about the safety and efficacy of your product, whether it is showing significant improvement or not. It is incumbent on the industry, other people in the industry. For example, the Karma case. So, India filed an opposition to that case and let the US Patent Office know that there is already a traditional knowledge around haldi or kurkuma, that the kurkumin that they have used. Also, there was another case where now this is another side of the story. After the kurkuma case, Indian government started to put together a traditional knowledge digital library (TKDL), and that body of knowledge contained data from Ayurveda, Upanishads, Kathopanishads, all the texts that we had. One applicant from India, filed an application in Europe, other countries including India, but European application got refused, saying that this is a traditional knowledge in India, and at the same time this application was granted in India. So that the person that challenged that decision in Europe had to come in India and challenge that application, saying that it is already traditional knowledge in India. How can Indian Patent Office grant that? So there have been like oversights around it, because so nobody has that access to all that database. Like people used to have only Indian Patent Office used to have that access to that database. Now every text, every Upanishad, every Ayurvedic formula is there in the on the internet, so everybody can see that and challenge the patent office. Intermediate, by law, the section 3D of the Patent Act says any ester, any ether, any derivative, any sort of already known substance is not patentable. But they have also given a proviso around it, provided it can be patented, it can be granted a patent, provided it shows some significant enhancement in the efficacy. So even if that is not possible, say it was disclosed somewhere else in the article. So if it is disclosed somewhere else, it cannot be a part of any inventive step. So if you are able to change the intermediate altogether by a different process, or if you are able to stabilize the intermediate, which nobody else had done before it, so that can be patented. You have to show that what you have done has solved some problem of industry or of end user or of the person manufacturing it. So there are also you can increase the yield, you can increase the stabilization, you can increase improve the compatibility of two different ingredients together. You can also increase the tabletability, so to say. When you make a oral solid dosage form in a tablet form, there used to be a problem that the medicine or the powder sticks to the tie, and the tablet is not uniform. It is mottled, or it is incomplete or impartial tablet, or it is colored tablet because of the rust on the iron. So even those are the problems that you can solve. So it does not have to be a patient problem or an end user problem. It can also be an industry problem. It can also be economic problem. It can also be sustainability problem. Say suppose the Bharat stage emission standards. So every standard they reduce the amount of maximum amount of sulfur or carbon dioxide that can be emitted from vehicles. So this is a regulatory push to inventors that now go ahead and reduce the emission by 5% or 10%. So this is also a problem that you can solve. Every problem that you can solve can be patented provided you show that with data, with experimental procedures. That can be patented.
So change the process by making it greener, changing solvents.
Yes, that can be. Just you have to show that the change of solvent is not obvious for any person's field in art. It should not be obvious to try, or probably there has to be some reasonable trial and error around the process. That has to be like you have to show that there was no reasonable reason for anybody to try that out.
Okay, yes.
Last question.
Last question, yes, thank you.
Since this rights are territorial, something is patented in America, can I use it for free without permission in India?
Yes. If he has patented that product only in US and not in India, you are free to use that. Also, there is a concept of territorial exhaustion. So, if a patented product patented in US, you buy that product and you sell that in India, reselling of that product. That is also like US. It might be one example, but different countries have different rules around the exhaustion of intellectual property rights. So there are concept of regional exhaustion as well. So anything that you buy in European region, whether in Germany or in Switzerland, that is said to be exhausted in the European region, and then you can sell it somewhere else. So there are ways to bypass the legislation, bypass the requirements of that country.
When US is making any product and when you start making the IP, you already know what is your market. So when US will create a product, the patentee already knows that where he or she wants to sell or what is the market for that idea. So they do that thorough research. So they are aware India में बिकेगा, अगर India में बिकेगा, they will definitely file a patent. You're getting my point. So when you start with that process on the thought process that okay, you're going to patent something, as an inventor we need to have a clarity as to what is our market, where else we can sell it, and then PCT जो है वो बहुत early होना चाहिए. I think sir has already cleared it well. So can we have a huge applause for sir? Thank you so much, sir, for taking out your valuable time and giving such wonderful insights to our participants. We have also recorded this session, so it's going live right now. It will be available on the website of the IIC of the institution, so you can always go back and revisit and take those lessons with you now between your peers, your institution, and keep that discussion going on. Right? So thank you so much. Swapnil sir, could you share your contact number with them? You can see it on the mic, so they can. So they would be also happy to invite you to their institution.
So my number is 8830 265472.
Thank you.
8830 265472.
Thank you.
going to give mine also. You have the pen and paper ready. So it's 9757 42 66 99. It's 9757 42 66. Umesh Rao, Ministry of Education Innovation Summit, West India. 9757 42 66 99. Yeah, one more applause for sir. A huge applause again. Thank you for coming. It was just that we had, a person coming in last moment. I had to request them to, take, and he was really, hats off to sir for especially coming down and addressing this. So we go for a break now. I think you guys must be agreed. So we have the snacks arranged for all of you, and after that we come back here for the pitching session. So we'll have pitching first and then the panel discussion because the investors are also waiting. Thank you. So even before going ahead and filing the patent, we have an idea what are the challenges that lie. So I would like to welcome quickly the guest investors with us. We are joined by three investors today. Can I invite okay. So I would like to call on stage esteemed investor who joined us for the day, Mr. Nikhil Gupta sir from Nagari Catalyst. Can we have a huge applause for him? Then we have Mr. Amit Rathi, who is from B Shore. Can we have a huge applause for him as well? So the third investor of the day, Mr. Anish Maheshwari from Vishwa. Can we have an applause for him? So now over to the investors and startups. I hope you will be enjoying the startup pitches. There are 7 startups and the time is very time bound. Activity this will be. So we want to make sure that startups also gain good insights. We have with us, we would also like to felicitate Manmeet sir has been very pivotal in helping me in executing this event as well. I'd like to felicitate sir as well. Yes, Manmeet Parvez sir from MIT. Ma'am, can we give a... Can I request the coordinators to PowerPoint? Yes. Okay, so start. Are you ready? Yeah, your time starts now.
Good afternoon, respected sirs and teachers. I, Joseph D'Souza, along with my team members and Fernandez and Shubhakar Deshmukh, we would like to present to you a smart sanitary pad vending machine. Well, there are machines in the market, like mostly NGOs. They are in charge of the machines. But here we have integrated IoT in this, and we have made it smart. Well, now I'll give the mic to Alan.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so I'm Alan Fernandez. I'm behind the technical theoretical stuff of this machine. So it was a start of a mini project in the first year. For the first year we started, we had an idea, and so the problem started by we approaching the girls. We asking them what's the main problem for menstrual hygiene in colleges and in educational institute. One problem they were facing that all these machines they are installed in places. All institutes, it's available everywhere. The problem is 80 to 70%, 70 to 80% time they are either like inoperative or they don't simply work due to some or the other reasons. So that totally destroys the purpose of like such a machine. So we came up with an idea as electronic engineers, we just came up with an idea that let's integrate IoT into it, and we made this. So this is a smart vending machine. Unlike normal vending machines, it has an ESP32 board which connects to the internet. It can supply the stocks, whether the machine has stocks in it, whether it is functioning well, or there is something else, anything wrong with it, and it uploads on a data server. Now that data server is connected to a client. Like the college has a website which monitors all this data. So that's the client side. Now on the server side, we have an NGO which handles like 50 or 60 of these machines overall educational institute. Like for Mumbai, we have an NGO. So it keeps a track of the data. Whether it's functional, it's not functional, and then it just like sends a ping to the institutes of wherever it's installed to get it repaired or get it working as soon as possible. So that's the integration we did, and here we are with this machine. We can show you a demonstration. Okay, so as you can see, it has a display which is currently like it's blank because it's not initiated. So the operation is very simple. You enter 5 rupees coin, it accepts it, and it dispenses a pad. As simple as that. Now we have interfaced it in such a way that it can also accept like multiple coins, like 1 rupee, 2 rupee, also combinations of ones, twos, and all that, as many as possible. Secondly, it also has a timeout system, like there's 60 seconds of time. If the transaction is not completed, like it hangs on for like suppose 4 rupees, so it can give out the money back to the user, whoever entered it, and then it just cancels everything, like whatever is going on, and then it restarts itself. Now this machine also has an IR sensor which detects whether the pad is actually being dispensed or not, which is used for error handling. That's all the key features of this machine. And yeah, you can show the demonstration.
We have your 1 rupee coins and 2 rupee coins. So when we put 1 rupee coin, the balance will show up that it is having 1 rupee coin. Then it will wait for 60 seconds that if for user to put another 4 rupees, or else it will give away the coins from here. It will refund the coins. And if you put on, now the balance is 3. Now this part, then it will bend like the bending mechanism, and it is bending down.
Okay, thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
Can we move to the podium and pass on the mic to us? Sure.
Hello. So first of all, it's a very good idea, and I guess it's a need for an hour. So well done. And have you done any POC in this as of now? Is it already in the market?
Smart machine like this, which has error detection or research system. There are machines that already.
No, but have you done the POC in any of the institute as of now?
No, currently this is the only
You don't need to get noticed. It's okay. You're pitching in. You should be having that kind of a faith and conviction in your product, and just stay relaxed. Okay, that's first thing. Second thing, are you selling this as a product or it is more of a service which you're wanting to sell?
It's more of a service. Like the product is outsourced, but we just sell the service to maintain the website and all the like software stuff. Basically.
So you're not looking at manufacturing this as a product?
No, not at
It's
this.
purely as a service.
As a service. Basically.
And to the institute or wherever you'll be installing it, this is you intend to put it up on subscription model over there?
Yeah, subscription model like that will be yearly. There will be a subscription charge, and that will be basically for the website handling and all the changes and whatever has to be done for the maintenance of the website.
Because you'll have to be very careful on the unit economics part of it. We can talk more about it if you need any help on that also.
Thank you.
Just to add, first of all, congratulate you just giving your presentation here. And secondly, there are certain changes you require because if you are running this for a service, then you will have to be talk to those companies where the product is already ready with them and go with those people and discuss with them if the product, your product will be accepted from them. Secondly, they are also looking for these kind of products, or they might having their own resources in these kind of developments. So they think this might be a difference selling for you. So just do some research on that part, and if you require any kind of help from our side, once the POC will done, definitely your product will be in the market and it's got accepted, then we'll be definitely with you. Come to us and discuss further on the same.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
One last thing, have you even checked this particular technology? Can you use in another segment as well? So just to give an example, I know it's off your product, but in case you have installed this particular thing in FMCG something, so a store manager would come to know, okay, what shelves and all that, so there is a vacuum or something really good. And this is just a technology which I'm saying, you can use this technology for other uses as well. Correct. Yeah, please.
Will we have next week?
Oh yes, right there. Scanner. So I just paid him 20 rupees via UPI. No, UPI. So we can do payments over QR code directly. So every wait, I'll take care of that. I never take it done. So for that, you need to have an account in an Indian bank. Do you have any?
yeah, I've been there. Chill pill, take a chill pill, have a Sprite, because we have a solution.
So, our product is basically like, how we came across our problem. So, all of us went together to for a drug. And there, like, a group of foreigners actually saw us and saw us making some payments. And they kind of approached us and they asked us the same similar questions that they asked. So, we were, they were quite astonished with what UPI can do in India. But for them to access that kind of payments is very, the process is very excruciating to say the least. So here we have come up with a solution where foreign tourists can set up temporary accounts and also like another fully fledged app that promotes local tourism all in one. Okay. So now we'll talk about the solution now.
So the solution that we have is, suppose एक foreigner आया, वो एयरपोर्ट पे उतरा, he just needs to download our app, वो हम लोग के ऐप पे आएगा, he'll upload his documents. So guys, can you please handle?
Yeah. So right now we have one of the this is the literature survey that we did, and it includes all the regulations on taxation, from account opening and everything. So I'll explain some of that.
So yeah, basically, so we have a list of documents that RBI requires for a person to get a KYC done. So along with those, we will also make him upload his visa and a passport. So foreign अगर कोई आ रहा है, उसके मेन दो ही चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट है, वीजा एंड पासपोर्ट. वो बना के वो डायरेक्टली हम लोग के ऐप पे फिर डिपॉजिट द USD. ठीक है. Now we have a like everything here is on a blockchain. उसका एक बनना चाहिए. ठीक है. आके पैसा लेके भाग गया तो कौन जिम्मेदार है? अगर वो आया है उसने डिपॉजिट किया है USD. We have a chain link on a blockchain. So what chain link does is अभी जो मेरा करंट रियल टाइम वैल्यू है ना, एक्सचेंज रेट, वो पैसे पे देगा मुझे मेरा एक्सचेंज रेट मिल गया. नाउ वी नो कि टैक्सेस भी कटते हैं एक्सचेंज रेट पे. वी हैव एन टैक्सेस, वो टैक्सेस उस पे कटेगा, वो USD आईएनआर में कन्वर्ट होगा. द कन्वर्टेड अमाउंट विद द डिडक्टेड टैक्सेस गेट डिपॉजिटेड इन यूजर्स अकाउंट. अब मैं यहाँ पे आईएनआर में खर्च कर सकता हूँ और जो मेरा टैक्सेस था वो डायरेक्टली गवर्नमेंट के वॉलेट में चला जाएगा. फुल ट्रांसपेरेंसी, हर एक चीज क्लियर ट्रांसपेरेंट. ठीक है. So that was the solution that we have come up with. अभी इसमें था कि taxes, तो taxes तो directly government की बात है. Price will go more deep into that because we have a model for that. And yeah.
Okay. So quickly, basically to set up a foreign exchange portal, there's a term called authorized dealer. Now there are categories of dealers. So AD1, category 1 stands for public sector banks. AD category 2 stands for private sector banks, and AD category 3 stands for FFMCs. FFMCs are basically fully fledged money changers. So what they do is they hire their own agents. They have agents level, agent level, and then they get clients to handle foreign exchange. So for we have basically 3 steps to our model. So either if we become an AD, there is all the research that is done. Everything is there to how to become an AD. One limiting factor is that you have to have 25 lakhs of net profit to set up become an AD. That is also a single branch AD. If you want to become a multiple branch AD, you have to have 50 lakhs of net profit. Since we are still students, we took the other approach of becoming a PPI, prepaid payment instruments. Now, basically our whole approach to this problem, like we see it as like before we go on to the business model, we would also like to tell you what our app does more exchange apart from foreign exchange.
So yeah, first of all, like we have a theory here, okay. So it's like एक चीज होती है पेन किलर, एक चीज होती है विटामिन्स और एक होते हैं हम लोग के टॉफीज, कैंडीज. ओके. पेन किलर्स मतलब ये जो हम लोग का सॉल्यूशन है, सब पेन किलर लोगों को जरूरत है. विटामिन्स नथिंग बट डॉक्टर ने प्रिस्क्राइब किया, यूज करना है करो वरना मत करो, लोगों का मन उड़ जाता है.
और यूज करो तो एक दिन यूज करो हो गया सॉल्यूशन, फिर बाद में यूज करेंगे.
और उसके बाद आते हैं कैंडीज जो उनको एडिक्टिव करते हैं हर एक चीज से. सो ये तो सॉल्यूशन था. नाउ वी विल हैव अ कैंडी फीचर्स.
So I would like to share candy features. First is itinerary recommendation. Imagine you are a foreigner, you came to Bandra and you want to visit a place where best biryani is in Bandra served. Like you can search like best place for biryani. Then the recommendation comes like Lucky or anything. और ये recommendation का database हम store कर रहे हैं blogs and reviews पे, जो उनसे ही आ जाएगा. Like once a foreigner visit an hotel, he can like directly take a photo and upload his experience or reviews. And that same data we are using for recommendation. Now, next is fraud alerts. Suppose, what do you mean by fraud alerts? Sometimes the foreigners pay Cora tax, like they pay more amount for a particular item. Now, what our app will do, we will create an interface like whenever they scan, there will be a dialog, and in that dialog, it will show the exact price for that. Are they paying high or low? And that is next point is emergency SOS. Whenever there is an emergency, they can press a simple button and SOS is given to a nearby police. Now, we all know their safety is our dignity, and I go by saying Aditi Devo.
And that saying is that our product is like a testament to that saying of Aditi Devo. But अभी अतिथि का फायदा हो गया, अभी हमारा भी फायदा है, इसलिए we'll talk about the business model. So as I said, becoming an ED is like either being a single branch or multi-branch. Then there's partnering with an ED. So हमारा जो भी solution है blockchain technology, वो भी उनको साथ partnership कर सकते हैं. या फिर we can also lease out our own blockchain technology. That is like it can be a patented, okay. And for now we are going with the PPI approach. So Paytm wallets plus अभी SBI योनो के भी एंड्स बहुत आ रहे हैं. It's the same kind of concept. PPI is like it helps you to create a temporary account, and it's like you can basically जब तक फॉरेनर लैंड होगा एयरपोर्ट से वो कैब का पेमेंट मतलब होटल तक पहुंचने तक उसका फर्स्ट पेमेंट कैब को हमारे ऐप से कर सकते हैं. So this is our scope of the app, and I'm sure
So along with that, जैसे बताया ideal recommendation. So we all have used Swiggy. Swiggy में वो लोग ऊपर हमेशा sponsored चीजें ही दिखाते हैं. So similar to that, we can show them something sponsored, तो उससे भी we can generate revenue. Yeah, so that.
Just the last point that was that service providers, अभी Airtel या फिर Vodafone. So the first thing a foreigner does is try to get a SIM card. So उनके साथ भी अगर tie किया, तो again it can work in harmony. So basically with this we conclude our business model and we'll open with questions.
So basically, everything. So everything, the transactions, every transaction that he makes will be there on the blockchain. Along with that, we use a IPFS service so that the visas and passports are uploaded there only. Along with that, so इससे फायदा क्या है blockchain use करने का main, क्योंकि direct database भी कर सकते थे. So अगर कुछ fraud कर रहा है तो जब वो check out करेगा यहाँ से, तो people can check the transactions.
Money laundering may be avoided or something. That's the main reason. So or from RBI is so all the concerns we are trying to meet, all the we ask it has a possibility of getting our technology, blockchain technologies, like it's been on a huge upward trajectory. That a lot of patents have been coming out on blockchain technology, like all the algorithms that are being developed. So our project also qualifies for us for that certain type of product. It's a future scope, but we can also look at that as a consumer. So basically, this RBI is also start trying to make it more liquid for the foreigners. But if we land on the river, we have to stand at the line at a kiosk and get the card. या फिर they will set up अगर बैंक का कार्ड है तो फिर set up करो, submit your passport, submit your visa, everything. All still
It's in the testing phase right now, but अब आप ही सोचो, वो लाइन में खड़ा है, वो लाइन खत्म होने तक वो अपने होटल में पहुंच सकते हैं, हम लोग के ऐप से उनके ड्राइवर को फर्स्ट पेमेंट कर सकते हैं.
Whoever is interested to get our PPI or our model or our document with theirs. So we are open to.
Basically, we can even do it without any support because there are various apps right now, like FamPay. To name a few, there's FamPay. It's very popular in the youth. So वो लोग directly खुद ही एक अलग बैंक है, like a payment bank. So we can even become that, but for that, we need more people to be involved. ताकि हम लोगों को knowledge है क्या चल रहा है बैंक में.
And as I said, to become an AD, there's like a profit net profit requirement. For stuff like it, there's a license for that. So that's the only limitation for our state.
So basically, we are working on the blockchain right now. We have done the transactions, but we are yet to get the proper tax amount, because the thing is, these ADs now, they charge 0.3 to 3% commission as well. We are not charging any commission because we have not yet got into the business model more yet. So as soon as we get into the business model, we can work that on the blockchain, but that also needs to be be there on the ledger so that everyone gets to know that we are not laundering any money from their profit as well.
And it's a solidity contract. So whatever charge or convenience fee that we want to levy on each transaction, we decide. So if we want to, for example, 1% tax, like 1% is our commission. So we can write that code on the blockchain and we can get our commission from that. And also the tax that is being going to be levied by the government is straight going to be extracted from the total like our commission plus the net amount of.
We have to pay 18% GST on our commissions. That also gets directed to the blockchain. So transparent. Yeah. So there was a lot of research basically involved in this. So we have the half of the blockchain is ready. So I can say that 50% of the blockchain part is ready. And we even have the UI of the app. So we have made 2 screens. We have just started it's been a month only and we have started with the UI of the app.
So this project mainly since it was the financial market and involves a lot of financial research. So I have been touched with some CAs and I'm also lawyers. So we've been constantly trying to get more perspective on the financial. Yes.
That's why that's the lawyers.
We can produce a product like this blockchain. The app everything can be done in the next 1 month. But this regulation and the study of these all the guidelines will take some it will take a proper effort. So right now we have split the so for the this is actually our main project. We are further looking to take for that. So right now we have because of the implementation ready and constantly on the side is still researching and getting more information and more opportunities that we can be more get in touch with the legal bodies.
We need a lot of guidance in this because we are in this financial field. So that's it.
But this is passionate to learn about it. So we can give this software also.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, I handle the software part and the blockchain, and Bryce and Sanket.
I mostly handle the financial, all the financial study that we done. Everything talking to financial experts, including CAs and everything. And something also, I'm mostly focused on bringing that and blockchain.
Also, these both are into data analytics and also, they analyze data for me.
It's a tech startup from our college that focuses on creating 3D immersive software for education for the students of India. So we've been working on this for the past 9 months, and we have also been awarded as the best digital tool for smart education by AICTE, and we've also been granted funding by AICTE and Ministry of Education under the UP scheme. So first of all, let's talk about the problem that we're trying to address. We were in the field of education. We have been teaching 11th and 12th students, also been interacting with 7th grade students for a coaching institute. So this was an internship for which we both were working. And there we came to know a lot of problems that the students are facing today. And a few of those problems are lack of interest, lack of motivation, low levels of concentration, and the biggest one, which is lack of active participation in learning. So let's talk about the solution. One thing that all the students love is playing games, and not the students, even adults, we all love playing games. And we thought that this was the best approach we could use to solve all these solutions. Now, I talked a bit about about the games that we built. All our games are 3D immersive games that focuses on interactivity, helping students visualize concepts that are otherwise harder to understand, and to make learning fun and competitive. So what happens is a lot of in today's day, we all are sitting in the classroom and the teacher is teaching. We know what kind of classrooms are the best ones, where the teacher is actively talking with the students, raising questions, and making sure that the students interact in this teaching learning process. And games do this in the best way possible. Students are constantly interacting, absorbing the content that these games give, and understanding and using their logical thinking to make sure that they cross levels in the game. So right now we have 3 games under development, out of which Ashtagraha has already been deployed and tested with students. The second game that we are building right now is Virtual Zoo, and the third is Veer Shivaji Maharaj. It's about the life of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. It takes the students on the complete journey of how he captured different forts, how he fought different battles, and yeah. So what is, everybody can build games, but what is special about us? So first of all our games are specifically towards the Indian education syllabus. It is custom mapped, and all our games are so easily customizable that if each school has a different textbook, their content in that textbook can be very easily integrated into our games, making it highly customizable and something that schools have desperately want. So we have already spoken, so to figure out the problems, we've spoken to around 200 students. We sat and did individual surveys. We've demoed our product to around 200-250 students, and then recently we have also implemented it successfully in a school in Andheri, where we made sure that each student is interacting with our software one-on-one, and we did this for a class of around 60 students, and we got a very positive response from that, making us confident in the solution that we bring to the market. This is a market analysis that we have done. So right now our total addressable market is 14.9 lakh schools in India, and the market that we want to address, the SOM, that is around 3.8 crore students. This is the costing and our revenue model. So right now what we want is that each student will interact one-on-one. Each student will interact one-on-one with our software. And we want this to be done during the school hours so that it doesn't leave a negative remark that बच्चे घर जाके game खेल रहे हैं. So what we do is, if for example there are 4 theory lessons in a class in a week, one of them will be a practical session where whatever they have learned in that week, they will play a game based on that topic. So right now our go-to-market strategy that we've been following is going to schools and offering them demo sessions, where we not just let them play our games, but we also talk a little bit about about the topic on which they are going to play the game. So we bring models, we have a small enactment that we do, and we interact with the students so that it's very much fun for them. So this always gives us a very good remark from the students, and them satisfied. So these are a few of our accomplishments that we've done. We've won the SIH. We've demoed our product at two boot camps that was also conducted by the Wadhwani Foundation as well as IIC. We've also exhibited our product at the startup stall at New Delhi. Thank you. We are open to any questions and now.
particular for higher education, not for only schools and all universities. So you can come along with Milan, we'll definitely register on the same.
No, it's just a way, so one game is meant to be played only once. That's the way. And so first we have it and so it was one session that we might have.
It sounds interesting. Definitely, it will be a new game changer for at least for the till higher education. Then we'll be on it. Definitely discuss. Thank you.
So, hi guys, my name is Sean Mendes and we are here to pitch you Dog Dive. Just to give you an insight, we are inspired by our females present over here. So, even we'll display something similar. Let's start with our PPT. ठीक है, 11:30 बजे जाते हैं एंड कुछ लेके जाना है क्या इसके अलावा? अरे यार अभी सब फाइलें ढूंढने बैठे हैं। हाँ ठीक है, देखते हैं। चलो, so to address this problem, to present you doctor. So what problems are we trying to solve? Current healthcare systems are fragmented. If you try to search current hospitals near me, what will you find? You will find Vilavati Hospital, Holy Family Hospital. आपको आपके हर जगह के hospitals दिखेंगे. But how you get appointment over there? आपको अभी कॉल करके बुक करना पड़ेगा। Other than that, जैसे दिखाया आपको यहाँ पे, फाइल लेके घूमना पड़ता है। Why do not we have an electronic health record system? So don't trust us. We conducted a market survey. What we did is we circulated a Google form amongst our friends, our parents, those जो भी है. This is what we have to say. These are about doctors or consultants, they are about patients. What motivates you to switch to a new healthcare platform? What features do you want? And the number one is all facilities in one platform. What do doctors have to say? How important is it for you to access advanced analytics? हर बार आपको क्या करना पड़ता है? आपको देखना पड़ता है कि हाँ ये पेशेंट आया था, हाँ ये उसकी मम्मी है, ठीक है मुझे याद है इसके पापा है, हाँ this is how I relate and that's how I get to know. How likely are you to recommend a platform that significantly improves your practice management? What if I get a dashboard, I get an analytics जहाँ पे point wise दिखा रहा है कि ये पेशेंट को ये प्रॉब्लम था and that's how I can address them immediately. And what type of patient communication tools? Don't trust us. This is our survey that we are conducting. Here, what patients? What is the most important factor when choosing a doctor? And most of the people say reputation. How do I get to know? जब मैं practice में जाके देखता हूँ, हाँ मुझे rating मिल गया, but that person, that particular doctor is associated within a hospital itself. Why do you choose a hospital for that matter? Because hospital gives you all amenities in one place. If I were to go and मान लो practice में कर लूँ, practice में एक doctor कर लिया, फिर अलग से practice में जाके blood test कर लिए, फिर अलग जाके कुछ और कर लिया. So that's why you have one platform, one umbrella that gets you everything under one place. How often do you experience long waiting times? Now people, if you are going to a hospital, आपको पता है doctors have to go to OPDs also. वो doctor की गलती नहीं है. It's something that doctors have to do. But for doctor can just at a click of a button send a notification. Now these doctors also when they go to their OPDs, it's a designated time. पूरे दिन के लिए नहीं जाते. It's for hardly half an hour somewhere. Patients को leave मिल सकता है. That's why we suggest. This is our market survey. What are the market gaps? Fragmented healthcare system, different hospitals, challenges in appointment scheduling, inadequate health records management. अभी हाँ वेट फाइल मेरे पास अगर एक दो ब्लड टेस्ट इधर हो गया, they are sending in papers.
फिर कुछ दे दिया, कुछ हो गया, what are you going to do about it? Then poor health insight and personalization. A doctor, he has to go to the flight. We expect the doctor to be that smart, and remember, yes, they are smart, but they are human after all. You should have a little consider to them. Limited access to specialist referrals, inadequate health records, insufficient integration difficulties. What do I mean by this? I mean, मान लो someone is on their deathbed and they have to for insurance. उस टाइम पे at that critical moment वहाँ पे जाकर बात करो. How often do you get to see this? कि आप वहाँ पे patient हैं and मुझे वहाँ पे payment जाके करना है. Insurance का मुझे देखना है. These are the difficulties that we are trying to address under one plan. What is the value proposition? For patients is to enhance access to care, easy access, reduced wait times. I mean, how do we address reduced wait times? First come first. जो patient पहले डॉक्टर के पास जाना चाहता है, go for it. But what if you are a cancer patient? What if you are a heart patient? I should get the priority in such a case. That's why you have priority strategies. Personalized healthcare management. Doctor वहाँ पे एक दो suggestion अगर दे दे for feedback के नाम, follow back के नाम, that will be very easy. एक ही platform पे आपको सब मिलता है. For doctors, it is streamlined patient management, optimized scheduling, improvised decision making, and data. What is our unique selling point? It's the advanced data analytics, the telemedicine. Practice also gives you telemedicine care. आप तो ऑनलाइन जाकर practice कर सकते हैं. Then why choose us? Because we give it to you in under one platform. We get to you कि आप डॉक्टर से कंसल्ट करना चाहते हो, कर लो ऑनलाइन. उसके बाद अगर आपको यही डॉक्टर इन पर्सन चाहिए, हॉस्पिटल में, अगर आपको ब्लड टेस्ट करना है, कुछ और MRI स्कैन करना है, it's all under one. Patient management, personalized patient experience. We store electronic health records, and this is our block diagram. A user can easily come on a platform. He has the smart scheduling, which gives him doctor-centric features as well as the patient-centric features. These are our national and international level competitors. These are the analysis that were done. So you have Practo, you have 1MG, you have various others. But all of them give you different solutions. One is either a medicine caretaker. But why can't we have just one platform that is sub ekta? We were inspired by Zomato. How does Zomato do? Zomato connects you with different restaurants. Why not instead connect you with different hospitals? And this is our standard booking fee. We did our social learning. How can we charge? So a basic 50 rupees can be charged for the booking and consultation fee. Other than that, we can start with a basic standard and a premium plan. So all the basic features that are required by a patient, वो तो पहले ही मिलना चाहिए. That is for sure. But उसके बाद अगर patient को frequent follow back करना है यही डॉक्टर के साथ, then you can charge the patient a fee. आपको पता है कि this is a person who wants to check regular checkups लगे हुए. And then for the premium fee, we also address for doctors. This is not only for patients, not only for doctors, but also on the hospital management system. This addresses all in one. And this is our business model. So you have our key partners, you have our customer segments, you have our value proposition, the channels that we can address it to, the cost structure, the key activity, and the customer relationships. I understand ये अभी थोड़ा PPT से ऐसा है, we had made it on Canva, and वो PPT पे convert करते टाइम यहाँ पे इसलिए नहीं हो रहा है, but yeah. So our key partners can be hospitals, clinics, they can be pharmaceutical companies, and they can be labs as well. उसके अलावा customer segments में we have patients, we have doctors, and we have hospitals. This is all that मुझे आपको एक पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है. That's why I'm just explaining to you. And yeah, just to give it to you in short, who is the customer segment? Healthcare providers, patients, health insurance companies, and government health departments. That's all. We are over. Thank you.
I think great presentation. Good amount of clarity about what you're wanting to address and what you're trying to plug in, where the gap is and what you're trying to plug in. But you know what the biggest challenge over here will be? The challenge will not be about creation of your app. A bigger challenge will be integration. Because all of those catchment areas that you mentioned, you need to get it integrated over there. It is easier said than done कि insurance claim settlement के टाइम पे आप उसको integrate कर पाओगे. But some of the finest TPAs in India, the third-party insurance service providers or settlements, where claim settlement is taken care of, they are not able to integrate it properly with institutions and hospitals. So your bigger challenge will be on that front. You need to work more on that front, because your development will be a one-off exercise, but your integration will be an ongoing one. You will have to continue doing your integration with all the possible service providers. So,
from a development perspective, what we are first planning is not the insurance, but connecting with different hospitals.
Insurance, I just gave an example, but all sorts of integration will be a much bigger challenge for you. So you need to address that.
Yes, that's why I
So one problem which you addressed, so how do you think the AVA is about to come, right? So AVA is your Aadhaar card, it's include Aadhaar card population. So once that has come, so I'm sure you will integrate with that as well. So,
Yes.
so have you done any integration with any of this?
Not as of now. So our first was getting and connecting hospitals. Because पहले से अगर Zomato ले लो, it connects with restaurants. पहले अगर hospital से मान लीजिए तैयार देंगे, why should we come on your card? Existing तो हमारा system नहीं, हम आपके भी बात. So that's why you have to tell the hospital that this is how it makes your life easier. हमारा पहले वो है and we have contact in deep line talking to various hospitals and वहाँ से we got a new contact habit that is the last level का. No, we are not learning. I'm sorry, not so we are the computer engineering students in our program.
So I have offered me. So I am working on a similar kind of application called Smart Chat. And we are on halfway. Like, and we are almost connected with 880 hospitals now in India. And onboarded 11,000 doctors yet. So if you would like to be a part of it, either you can take the entire control of that app, or you can be joined with us. The contribution or the commercials we can discuss, there is no problem. With your education also. So I am allowing you, you can come along with your plan, work our plan with you, and work on it. Is that okay with you?
So we can get back after I
Discuss with your college. This is the offer which I can put on floor because we are already on halfway. We have good doctors with us now. So because you are having a good idea, and we are also working on similar kind of idea. So we can collaborate.
So can I
Yeah, anytime. Today, tomorrow, so there is no problem. You can come to our place also, but with your consent with your college.
What were your roles?
so I practice with this as a member, but she had to actually rush to the hospital to grandmother, so we couldn't do it.
So this is my point also because you come along with your team.
Yes. So another.
But this is the key for me. There's no problem with the investments. So idea is there. You are also having the same idea. Why don't we work together?
Sure. We get back.
Done?
Just to answer one and then we close off. I handle the ideation and the program part. There's another person who is not present here. He handles the back end. Jeffel over here, he handles the front end, and she handles the UI UX design.
So without explaining your application, you can just do the everything. You can be doing everything. And you can take it forward.
Sure.
Yeah, finally they have to, campus placement आज हो जाएगा यार. So, like they eventually have to take up the responsibility. So what will happen is within a year. So thank you so much, sir. Can we have next team, please? We have two more teams after this. Let's keep it crisp.
basic maths. Like they know this is 2, this is 3, but when they add it, it doesn't become 5. Okay, so with interactive games like with bananas, with fruits, with apples, we help them learn better with not using maths to learn maths. So that's our meaning.
So I think Tare Zameen Par, the movie which we watched, has helped go take a step further with such an issue. Dyscalculia. So right now, actually we went and spoke to a child psychologist. We pitched the idea to her. The first question was, do you have any investors for this? So she's interested in it, and about this we have a small demo. We'll have on the other laptop.
So again, for these are disabilities, like, and we are still students, we are
we've been able to manage them, but the other one, which is autism and dyslexia, autism and ADHD, you actually require someone to be in a face-to-face manner because it's a total different ball game out there.
No worries.
Last two teams to go. Let's be quick.
Hello everyone. Every country is looking for clean and green energy, of which solar and wind energy are prominently used. Solar energy is useful in urban areas where there is space constraint, and wind energy is useful in rural areas. However, for effective energy generation, we need solar and wind farms. To overcome this problem, we have vertical axis wind turbine. So we have three configurations in it. First is vertical axis wind turbine.
I will go through the configurations. There are three vertical axis wind turbines are here for quite a while, but there are different designs in which they are available. So what we have designed, this is the vertical axis wind turbine that we have designed. So there are three configurations. The first one is the normal wind turbine. The second one is with a solar panel. The third one, it is a water turbine attached below. It is useful for rivers. So we can put it into rivers. The part above the stays above the water, and it captures the wind energy that is flowing above the river. And generally in India, above river, the wind above river goes anywhere between 40 km per hour to 50 km per hour. So we have a higher chance of generating a huge amount of energy through the wind turbine that is attached above. And when the river, and India has 12 months long flowing rivers, so the water turbine will continue to generate energy when the river has started to flow. So these are the three configurations that they are available. We have filed for design patents because these designs do not exist. So considering the dimensions, for urban areas, the height will be 3 meter and it will be 2 meter wide. This is because we need a larger sweep area. So the sweep area will be 6 meter per square. And theoretically, considering all the formulas and all, it is capable of generating 168 kilowatt of energy per day. However, there are several losses like transmission loss, power loss, wind loss. Considering all that, around 80 to 100 kilowatt of energy can be generated per day. The materials that will be used are carbon fiber. It is a composite material, and India has an average wind speed of 20 kilometers per hour, so it can generate energy wherever it is placed.
Costs you around 3 lakhs, and it generates only 25 units of energy per day. Our product costs you around 3 lakhs once the final product is made. For prototypes, obviously we need more funds, but
Right now we have to outsource, but when we have in-house production, so at that time there are, like I said, there are three configurations. Out of that, the two configurations, that is the normal VAWP and the plus solar panel, it will cost us 1 lakh, around 80,000 to 1 lakh 20,000 to manufacture it. And whereas for the water turbine that is included with it, it will cost us between 1 lakh 20,000 to 1 lakh 60,000. And this is the production cost. Just the production cost. There are several other costs as well, like the marketing, the transportation, installation, and everything. When we look at the profit margin, including the government subsidies and all that are there, we can sell it anywhere about 2 lakh to 3 lakh, 3,50,000. Because of its efficiency, we have higher chances of capturing the market. So, for the market advantage, there is no domestic competition as well as international competition, but there are certain scams involved in the international market because there are Chinese exporters that export this system, promising a higher energy generation, and in reality, there is a lot of scams involved there. As for the customers, there are two types. One is the residential. There might be people living in village or urban areas, and there are people who have electricity bills of 5 to 6,000 on an average per month. So for them, the entire cost of purchasing the system can be reviewed in 1 year or so. Yes. So, and as for commercial customers, the size of the more height the wind turbine has, the more energy it will generate. So, for the commercial clients, we can also produce tall wind turbines so they can generate more energy. So, this can help India achieve its net zero goal. As for future prospects, like we said, there is urban integration. Like we can, and one thing, like in high rises also, on the 22nd or 25th floor, there are huge wind power that is available. So we can design a system that can be attached directly to the customer's window, so that the energy can be generated from there as well, instead of on the terraces and on the rooftops. The next one is rural electrification. Instead of individual, we can install 10 to 20 wind turbines in a single village, and the entire village can generate energy. In solar panels, the electricity is generated in the morning, they can use it at night. But with this, they can use it all day long. And like you said, industrially, and we can also integrate it into the smart grid of India. Yes. So actually, we have like now this is the images that we showed. There are actual 3D models that we have. Okay, so in September we will be 3D printing it at SPIT Idea Lab. So once the 3D printing is done, we will be able to so once that is done, we can make an actual prototype or digital prototype with all the materials that will be used. So as for prototyping, there are costs involved. So first we are into 3D printing. After 3D printing, then we will go for prototyping. So as of now, there are no challenges, but once we develop it, we will know how many more challenges are there. Only challenge that we have as of now is outsourcing. So that yes.
So, yes, as you were to these things now, and then we are going to the end of the session. We had planned to the paucity of time and the mobile traffic, which is not burden everyone. Yes, so can I have you your thoughts for that? Yes, so thank you so much to all the participants, all the startups. I wish you all the best. Investors, where to reach out to them. I will be sharing the details with the IIC coordinators. Whoever has got the feedback, make sure you work on that. If they have told you to come back, have the courtesy to reach out to them. It should not happen that they are following up what happened to those people. I have seen that in the panel discussions also, investors have highlighted that we go back behind the students reaching out to what happened. So don't lose this momentum and the motivation. Coming here and presenting is good, okay, yes, you get that tip. But go back, work on your ideas, work on your suggestions which have been given, and reach out to them. I could see brilliant stuff going on in the campus. I can say 1 minute if you could give this about the startups which you have seen one by one. You can come to this.
So basically just wanted to add to you, sometimes what happens when your idea is good, right, and you are getting some insights from investors like us, then the problem which we are facing right now, once you are on the next level, we are not easily accessible to you. It's the biggest problem with us nowadays. We are having a thought process in our mind that we will be helping the students, right? But once the students will be coming with the idea and they get some next level, then they are just here and there, they are just running out of the time. This is the problem with the new age students, and please don't do that, because the issue is what this is just your stage to start. This is your upbringing, right? Will not getting always these kind of investors. Not like us, there are so many people on the investor side, or you are easily accessible to them. So don't go into that. Just fix your projects first. Start with your own vision. Take 2 or 3 investors or 2 or 3 mentors with you from your college, from your faculty, from your family, from your friends, and go with your flow. एक बार अगर आप भटक गए ना, तो फिर आपको कभी लीव नहीं मिलती है. प्रॉब्लम भी बहुत सारी हम लोग भी फेस कर रहे हैं, बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स के साथ में यही सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम होती है. आइडिया जब एक आइडिया स्टेज से एक्चुअल एजुकेशन पे पहुंचता है ना, तब तक पूरी टीम उनकी भटक जाती है. तो फिक्स विद योर आइडिया. जो भी आइडिया आप दिमाग में लेके चल रहे हो उसको एकदम पता चले. बहुत सारे अभी तो आपने स्टार्ट भी नहीं किया जल्दी. विद आवर कॉर्पोरेट एक्सपीरियंस, आई थिंक सो वी ऑल आर 30 इयर्स इन द इंडस्ट्री. तो हमारे लिए हमेशा एक दिन ऐसा, एक दिन ऐसा, एक दिन ऐसा ही चलता है. कभी ये सीधा लाइन आया ही नहीं या कभी ऐसा लाइन गया ही नहीं. यू गॉट माय पॉइंट? सो आपकी जस्ट ये स्टार्ट है, ये जर्नी आपने स्टार्ट की है, तो इस फ्लो को टूटने मत दो और इस पे वाइजली डिसीजंस लो, इमोशंस पे मत आओ, प्रैक्टिकल सोचो, बट फ्लो के साथ चलो. डोंट बी गो हियर एंड देयर. दिस इज माय सजेशन टू यू ऑल. दिस इज माय सबमिशन आल्सो.
थोड़ा लाइट रखते हैं स्टूडेंट. So, but on a serious note, I'll only tell one thing, that it's a good way of actually put forwarding your thought, your innovative ideas. And a better touch point to that is that thankfully you have a lot of ecosystem partners today who are there to support you. I've been told that we have an incubation center coming up over here. It cannot get better than you guys over here. You get incubated in your own institutes, incubation center, nothing like it. And it is unimaginable the amount of boost it will give to your innovative idea. The moment you go all out over there and actually say कि हम अपने कॉलेज के incubation center से incubate होके आए हैं, people will look at you in a very, very different way. So that is my first submission. And secondly, also, and I think it is common between the three of us, that any inputs that you are giving, it is not just commercial, it is not just about investments. In fact, हमने investments की तो ज़्यादा बात ही देखी है,
ना कि आप लोग ने ज़्यादा आस्क पुट अप किया है अभी तक. So our inputs are both the commercial fund and non-commercial fund. Each one of us will be managing portfolio companies. We manage companies in similar areas with some USP, some edge attached to it. So based on that experience, there are a lot of pitfalls that we've already seen and a lot of good points that we've already seen. My sincere request to all of y'all would be that try and extract all of those points from us, or for that matter, anybody that you're interacting with. And of course, commercially the fund is to करना ही है. That is ongoing for any startup founder. Not just एक साल दो साल के लिए, but वो अगले 10 साल तक रहने वाला है आप लोग के लिए. So with God's grace, even beyond अगर रहता है. So for me, just one personal submission कि if a founder is not raising money, मतलब वो काम नहीं कर रहा है. That is how we look at it, right? So I think that's what I would want to say.
Hello guys, first of all, congratulations to sir and the entire team. I guess good presentation you guys have made. Honestly, hats off. And you also कि मैं जब ये था मुझे तो समझ में नहीं आता क्या करना है. But you guys are way ahead of that. And only a small submission that is कि just don't wait for the perfect things to happen. Just come up with the MVP and then keep on adding with the features and all that. So only that is the thing. Just don't wait for कि नहीं यार मैं best product बना के launch करूँगा. Like it doesn't work like that. Just come up with a small MVP, be it a prototype जिसने बोला अभी मुझे शायद. Come up with that. Go into the market. Have a research. And thing is, again important thing is, don't believe, rather believe is the wrong word. But don't entirely believe on कि book में ऐसा बोला है, ऐसा करोगे तो ऐसा होगा. It doesn't work like that. You need to actually go in the market, meet to people, consumer and also whomsoever. Take their first read and then get on to their product. Great, that's it. Enjoy. Take care.
Thank you so much, sir. We look forward to your continued support to the students over here. I hope you will be reaching out to them. And thank you, sir, for hosting this event. It's an honor for Ministry of Education Innovation Cell to have me here, take that pivotal role. And hats out to the student IIC coordinators. Can we have an applause for them as well? Wishing you all the best. So, last few words from you. Yeah, we'll take a picture. Let's everyone join. Second, we move on the slide. Or we can stand here. So, please, sir, join us. Can we ask the IIC coordinators of all the institutes? The startups. Take another mask.
Nice guy.
Yes.
Let's everyone look at the camera. Give me a big smile, okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you everybody. Thank you our IIC coordinators, Ashwini madam, Swati madam, Pranti madam, and all student council.
It's still on.
और बुजुर्ग पैसा मांगते हैं